Hello friends, I go by Hadley Wright and this is my new YouTube channel. I thought today we could talk a little bit about writing identity or how we think of ourselves as writers and how that affects our mindset and, the pros and cons of the different elements of that, right? I thought this would be a good topic for the first video because we can get into a little bit of what I write and where I'm at, what my goals are, and yeah, get to know me a little bit while also talking about something that's hopefully helpful to some of you as well. So if you end up liking this video, getting something useful out of it, or you just like the vibe, I don't know, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be amazing. You gotta say it. Help boost up a tiny little baby channel. I don't know. But that's not why I'm doing this. I would like to have a tiny little corner of the internet that is for me and like-minded writers. If I can help and inspire others to work on their own work, like I feel when I watch other creators who are writers, then my job here is done. But yeah, let's get into it, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. So I feel like this question of writing identity has held me back many times. And I don't want to go into like a really long spiel of my entire history as a writer, but like as a quick overview, I got a spark for a story years and years ago, like around NaNoWriMo time, and I wrote on it. It was a medieval fantasy, and I've spent most of my time as a writer on that series. And I started feeling like I am not a huge like die-hard fantasy reader. I read a lot of fantasy. I like romantasy. I like stories like what I'm writing, but I haven't like read the whole like zeitgeist of books. I'm not an expert in this genre. I just had this story that came to me, and it's the story of my heart. It's the story I just can't quit. Despite these questions of, I don't know, can I be this author? Like if I publish this series, and people who read it are going to think that I am, that's like my vibe, right? Like it's the brand. Everybody who exists on the internet now has a brand, right? And it's important. It is important to give readers what they expect to a certain extent. And so it has caused me many crises over the years. And I've just now kind of gotten to a place where I have like a bit of a plan in my head to how I'm going to address that. And that includes writing another genre as well, romance. I almost said it already. So I think my plan of attack here as a writer who has plans to publish in the future, I do plan to be an indie published author, self-published. There's pros and cons, of course. There's a billion videos on the internet about that, and I don't know how much I'll probably talk about it here. But for me, I have waffled a lot, but I have come to, the longer I think about it, the more solid I feel about that decision. And you can always, who knows what the future may hold if my career somehow takes off. Possibilities are endless. Indie published authors get book deals all the time, so that's always an option in the future. Oh gosh, I kind of want to talk about that also, but we can make like, I have tons of videos that I can make here, so no rush. I don't have to put it in this one. So yeah, let's get back on track here. So yes, I was writing this medieval fantasy for years and years and years, feeling kind of like a fraud. Not even like imposter syndrome in general, but like specifically like, what makes me think I can write this story? And what makes me think I should, like, I can publish this genre? Because I just felt fraudulent a little bit. I don't feel that way as much anymore, even though I still don't read that much fantasy. Like, it's hard to say. There are readers out there, like I am online just as much as you guys are, and there are readers who are just like fantasy readers who have read everything. I mean, I haven't read Wheel of Time. I haven't finished Game of Thrones. I mean, as much as it can be at the minute. You know, I haven't read a lot of these. I have read Stormlight Archive, but that's pretty much all Brandon Sanderson I've read. And I mean, that's a spectacular series, and absolutely everyone should read it. That was actually my big foray into epic, like high fantasy. I don't even know if it counts as high fantasy, but yeah. And then I was hooked immediately. Because I mean, it's got to be like the best of the best, right? If you have other recommendations, I have a list a billion miles long of, I even have them on my shelves of books, all these up here. A lot of these are fantasy books that I am planning to read eventually. That's another topic for another video. But yeah, I don't feel like an expert there. And that felt like an identity crisis, because I don't know, I don't really even feel about other people like you have to be an expert in order to write a book in that genre. Of course not. If the story is good, then it's good, right? And the other part of that is the genre mixing kind of that I have going on, where it's not a romantasy, it's not a high fantasy, I say it's a medieval fantasy because that's the only way I can describe it. Like, there's coming of age elements, there's a romance, it's a revenge story and redemption. There's all kinds of things in it, and it's really hard to describe, which is like the thing about writers, right? That's the big no-no. You have to be able to pitch it and sell it. And it's really a difficult story to sell, which has kind of played into this whole identity thing as well for me, because over this last year, I basically, you know, I've had writing spurts where I take it very seriously and get tons done. I have finished first draft manuscripts of several books, three books right now that are finished first drafts, but haven't been polished. And then I have a baby. I get pregnant and have a baby, and then that kind of goes out the window for a while. You have to let it go in certain seasons of life where you just don't have time. And so every time I come back, it's kind of the same thing over again. And right now I am done having babies. And so I kind of had to have this like sit down with myself of, okay, you keep coming back to writing, but like, I don't know, what are you trying to do here? What are you doing? And I came to the conclusion that I want to do this. I want to write books. I want to sell books, and I would like to make an income from writing books. And from this, also, everything is very complex, right? Everything plays into everything else. Because that story, my medieval fantasy, is impossible to market, essentially. It's going to be very, very difficult. And because I feel like that's not exactly who I am, and that's not like my brand. Like, I'm not comfortable with that as my brand, right? So I am still writing it. I'm not giving up on that story. I still plan to work on it and eventually publish that series. But in the meantime, I have kind of switched over to what my wheelhouse actually is, which is romance. I read over 100 romance books a year. I absolutely love them. It's like candy. You just love a good happy ending and the emotional roller coaster of a good romance. I feel like I know the genre very well, and I have plenty of ideas to write. So I have kind of made this deal with myself that I'm going to launch my indie career as a romance writer. And after I kind of establish myself there with a couple of books, maybe, we'll see, at least 3 books, maybe 5 books, we'll see how that works. I will focus on the romance, and I feel way more like that feels like me. That feels like absolutely possible and authentic to myself. So that's kind of the direction I'm moving now. I have a finished manuscript of my first book. I have ideas for several, like standalone romance series, it's very common, of some other characters in my first book that I'm going to be working on. Excuse me. And that's kind of my main focus. And that feels a lot better. Now, as far as identity here, like, well, you still said you're going to be writing this other book on the side. What happens when you want to actually publish that? And that's a good question. That is a great, great question. And there's a lot of different solutions and no right answer. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and I'm not sure what I'm going to end up doing, but I know that this feels right. I know that I can be both. I know that I can have my main outlet be romance and also have this other side genre, right? And then I think even my readers will understand that's not my main thing, but it is something that I'm passionate about. Like, I'm not, even other story ideas that eventually come to me, like, I do plan to make this a career. It's going to be many years ahead of me. I'm sure there will be other things like that that pop into my head that I feel like, wow, I really need to write that. And I hope that it is maybe similar in the fantasy sci-fi space so that I can have maybe 2 pen names, one romance, one fantasy sci-fi, and kind of have it split that way. You can have as many pen names as you want, but they are a little bit difficult to manage as well. But yeah, basically I just want to encourage you guys also that you don't have to just be one thing. Although if you can just be one thing, like if you can just narrow in on one thing and that's really all you read and that's really all you feel like writing, those are the only kind of ideas that you have, that's a huge advantage and you should capitalize on that because that is not all of us. There are some of us that just read widely and have ideas that span the scope of everything that ever existed and many things that never did. And that is sort of where I'm at. I feel like I don't have tons and tons of ideas on the fantasy side, but I do have 2 more ideas for probably a series because a girl can't just write something short. I can't. I'm an overwriter. It's a disease of mine. But yes, I do have more ideas on that side, but still I don't feel like I am a fantasy sci-fi writer. So this has kind of helped me having this distinction and plan to split basically my time between the 2 and have one as my priority, especially here at the beginning of my career, trying to get established, right? And so people can recognize my style and what I actually write. And then I can work on the other half, the other side. It won't be half. It'll probably be less than half. I only have the 5 books. Oh my goodness, this is hard. This is hard to talk for this long. I'm a writer, guys. I'm not a talker. I need a drink. It's just tea. Don't worry. So yes, I would be very interested to hear about you guys if you've had writing identity crises like I have that just literally, I mean, when I would feel that, and that's the only story I was working on for a long time, that medieval fantasy, I would just feel, when I would sit down to write, I would feel that fraud feeling every time I sit down to write. It was not fun. Not fun, and eventually led to me quitting writing, like taking breaks from it for years at a time, because I just felt like, who do I think I am doing this? Like, I need to read up on this stuff more. I don't know, like, which makes no sense. It doesn't really make sense when you think about it, because though reading well in your genre will help you, will only ever help you, it's not necessary. Like, the story is what the story is, and only you can write it. And I firmly believe that, but our brains are really, really good at just trying to tear down anything that's hard. And writing a book is very hard. And so my heart goes out to you guys if that's something you're struggling with too. I would love to talk to you about it in the comments if that's something you're also struggling with. Know that you are not alone and that yeah, there are people every single day struggling with the same exact questions and having the same exact struggles, and you too will get through this. And I'm sure I will still continue to happen to me for some time to come. It's not like 100% solved right now. It's going to be difficult going in the future too, I know, but for now, that's where I'm at. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you next time.